Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the party. In a week dominated by trade rumors swirling around Jalen Ramsey, Miami Dolphins fans finally got a break from the anxiety and a reason to smile. Head coach Mike McDaniel took the podium during Tuesday's OTAs and delivered a refreshing update that had absolutely nothing to do with Ramsey and everything to do with the offensive line. For a team with as many weapons as Miami protecting, quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has never been more important. And in that regard, the Dolphins may have just caught a huge break. McDaniel confirmed that right tackle Austin Jackson, the $36 million man, is on track and will be ready for training camp. That's big, real big, especially when you consider how fragile the Dolphins' O-line has looked over the past couple of seasons. Having Jackson healthy and locked in could be the foundation this team needs heading into what promises to be a high-pressure 2025 season. Now, let's take a moment to really appreciate what McDaniel said. It wasn't just a casual, he's doing okay. No, the coach was visibly upbeat when talking about Jackson's progress. If there's a more ready version of him, I'm super excited to see it, McDaniel told reporters. That's not the kind of quote you throw around lightly. Coming from McDaniel, who's not exactly known for overselling injury returns, that's significant. It shows confidence. It shows belief in Jackson's growth. And more importantly, it tells us that the coaching staff sees something in Jackson that perhaps the national media hasn't picked up on yet. This is a guy who just last year was the subject of doubt and criticism after battling injuries and inconsistency. Now he's expected to anchor the right side of the line and protect Tua, who's had more than his fair share of bumps and bruises. That's a heavy responsibility, but Jackson seems ready to embrace it. And honestly, that's exactly the kind of development Dolphins fans needed right now. With Ramsey's potential departure casting a shadow over the defense and questions swirling around the future of the secondary, a healthy and motivated Austin Jackson brings a bit of balance back into the conversation. Because if the Dolphins are going to make a serious run this year, it won't just be about their defense or their speed at receiver. It'll come down to whether they can keep their franchise quarterback upright. Tua Tagovailoa has shown flashes of brilliance when given time, but when the pocket collapses, the injuries pile up and the offense loses its rhythm. That's where Jackson becomes critical. At 6'5" and over 300 pounds, his physical tools have never been in question. The issue has always been durability and consistency. But now, with a full offseason under his belt and the backing of his head coach, we might finally see what Austin Jackson is truly capable of. Of course, Jackson's return is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. The offensive line as a whole has to improve if this team wants to compete with the likes of the Chiefs, Bills, and Bengals. And to that end, Miami's front office was busy this offseason. They went out and added veteran guard James Daniels, a proven interior lineman with starting experience in both Chicago and Pittsburgh. He brings leadership, toughness, and most importantly, reliability. Alongside him, the Dolphins also invested in the future by drafting Jonah Savaiinaia, a powerful second-round pick who's expected to contribute right away. These moves weren't just about filling gaps. They were about building a unit that can finally offer Tua the kind of protection that elite quarterbacks take for granted. Miami's offense is built on timing, quick reads, and explosive plays. None of that works without a solid front five. Still, even with those additions, the expectations remain tempered. PFF ranked Miami's offensive line 27th out of 32 teams, 6th. Worst in the league. That's not where you want to be heading into a season with Super Bowl aspirations. But McDaniel's confidence in Jackson and the new-look O-line suggests that internally, there's a quiet optimism brewing. They know how critical this group is. They know that without a cohesive, healthy line, the rest of their playbook becomes a lot harder to execute. So the announcement that Jackson is not only recovering, but looking more ready than ever, has to feel like a major win. It's not often a single player's health can shift a team's outlook, but in this case, it absolutely does. Now, while the right tackle spot seems locked down, the real intrigue might actually be on the left side. Enter Patrick Paul, the second-year tackle who's suddenly facing enormous pressure. With veteran options limited and the team putting their faith in younger talent, Paul is now tasked with arguably the toughest job on the team, protecting Tua's blind side. That's no small task. And when you consider Tua's injury history, the stakes are sky high. One bad hit could derail the entire season. That's why Paul's development will be under the microscope in training camp. The Dolphins don't need him to be perfect, but they need him to be solid, reliable, smart. He has the physical tools, no doubt. But the NFL is a different animal, and the left tackle position is where boys become men fast. And let's be real here, Tua needs this line to come together. He's not a scrambling quarterback who can dance around pressure all game long. He needs time to go through his reads and deliver the ball on time. When he gets that time, he's one of the most accurate passers in the league. We saw it last season in spurts. The chemistry with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle is electric, but it all crumbles when defenders are in the backfield 2 seconds after the snap. That's where the spotlight shifts from the highlight reel plays to the guys in the trenches. They're not flashy. They don't make the headlines, but they determine whether the team thrives or crashes and burns. And with McDaniel publicly backing his right tackle and reinforcements arriving at guard, the Dolphins might finally have a chance to stabilize the heart of their offense. Of course, we're not saying the O-line is fixed overnight. This is still a unit with a lot to prove, but it's hard to ignore the progress. Jackson being ready for training camp means continuity. It means less reshuffling. And it gives the team a clear idea of who they can count on when the games start to matter. Add in the leadership of James Daniels, the potential of Salvainea, and the wild card that is Patrick Paul, and suddenly there's reason to believe. And let's not forget, McDaniel's system is designed to make life easier for the offensive line. Quick passes, misdirection, play action. These are tools that can help mask some of the growing pains this group may face early in the season. It won't be perfect, but it doesn't have to be. It just needs to be good enough. As we look ahead to training camp, all eyes will be on that offensive front. Can they stay healthy? Can they build chemistry? Can they give Tua the pocket he needs to finally silence the doubters for good? These are the questions that will define the Dolphins' 2025 campaign. Because let's face it, Miami's got the talent everywhere else. The speed, the scheme, the swagger. But it all starts up front. That's why this update from McDaniel feels like more than just a health report. It feels like a statement of intent. A declaration that the Dolphins know what was missing last year and that they're doing everything they can to fix it. So yeah, Ramsey's situation is worth watching. But this could be the news that actually moves the needle. And that's where we'll leave it for now. Because while trades and rumors dominate the headlines, it's the trenches that win. Championships. And if Austin Jackson is truly as ready as McDaniel believes, then the Dolphins may finally be ready too. Ready to protect Tua. Ready to dominate the line of scrimmage. And ready to make a run that's been years in the making. So Dolphins fans, get excited. This team isn't just hoping for improvement. They're building it brick by brick. And it all starts with a healthy, motivated right tackle who's ready to prove the doubters wrong. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute bombshell shaking the entire NFL landscape, especially in the AFC East. Yes, you heard it right. The rumors coming out of multiple reliable sources suggest that none other than Aaron Rodgers has reportedly accepted the idea of becoming a backup quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. This is the same Aaron Rodgers who for years defined what it meant to be an elite starter in the league, a Super Bowl champion, 4-time MVP, and future first ballot Hall of Famer. But now, as he nears the twilight of his illustrious career, Rodgers seems to be prioritizing something more important than his ego. One last shot at that elusive second Super Bowl ring. If this move materializes, it would send seismic waves through not just the AFC East, but the entire NFL. Now, let's break this down, because it's not every day that a player of Rodgers' caliber even entertains the idea of riding the bench, let alone actively accepting such a role. Rodgers, who recently turned 41, spent the last season struggling with injuries and watching from the sidelines as his New York Jets experiment spiraled into disappointment. While his competitive fire still burns bright, sources close to him indicate that he's ready to accept a secondary role if it means being part of a team that has a real shot at contending. Enter the Miami Dolphins. Young, dynamic, and loaded with talent on both sides of the ball. They've got an offensive mastermind in Mike McDaniel, and with Tua Tagovailoa at the helm, they've been on the cusp of something special. Adding Rodgers to that locker room would be like adding nitrous to an already roaring engine. Of course, this scenario raises a million questions. First, why Miami? Well, it's simple. The Dolphins have one of the most electrifying offenses in the league, with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and a creative playbook that's all about speed and precision. Rodgers is known for his surgical passing and ability to read defenses like a chess grandmaster. Even if he isn't the starter, having his brain and experience in the quarterback room could elevate the entire team's performance. Moreover, the allure of South Beach, the warm weather, and the chance to avoid the grueling New York media circus surely factored into his decision. For Rodgers, it's about quality of life and quality of opportunity, and Miami offers both in spades. Another key factor here is Tua Tagovailoa's durability. As talented as he is, Tua has dealt with multiple concussions and injury scares over the past couple of seasons. The Dolphins front office knows that having a proven veteran ready to step in at a moment's notice could be the difference between making a deep playoff run and watching the Super Bowl from the couch. Rodgers, for his part, is reportedly comfortable mentoring Tua while also staying mentally and physically prepared to take over if needed. That type of insurance policy is priceless in the modern NFL, especially for a team that's built to win now. So while on paper he'd be the backup, the reality is that Rodgers could end up playing a pivotal role at any given moment. Let's not forget the emotional and psychological dimensions of this story. Rodgers has long been viewed as one of the most confident, sometimes polarizing figures in the sport. For him to accept a backup role signifies a profound shift in his mindset and priorities. It suggests that he's finally putting legacy above personal pride, understanding that being part of a championship team, whether as a starter or mentor, is the ultimate capstone to his career. Think about how rare this is. How many legends are willing to step aside, even slightly, in pursuit of collective glory? This is the kind of humility and strategic thinking that could redefine how aging quarterbacks approach the final chapters of their careers. Meanwhile, the rest of the AFC, East is surely in panic mode right now. The Bills, Patriots, and Rodgers' former team, the Jets, are all processing the implications of this potential move. Miami was already a tough out, but adding Rodgers to that mix, even in a reserve role, drastically shifts the balance of power. The Dolphins' offense could become even more versatile and dangerous with Rodgers contributing in practice, helping to develop game plans and pushing Tua to be his very best. Defensive coordinators across the conference must be dreading the prospect of game planning against a team that has not one, but two elite football minds operating in sync. Financially speaking, the details of the rumored agreement are still murky, but insiders suggest that Rodgers is willing to take a significant pay cut to make this happen. That in itself is stunning. For a player who once commanded some of the highest salaries in league history, it shows just how determined he is to chase that final ring. Money is no longer the driving factor for Rodgers. Legacy is. And when a player of his stature makes such a sacrifice, it sends a clear message to the rest of the locker room. This is about winning, nothing else. It could be the kind of galvanizing force that pushes Miami over the top, turning them from contenders into champions. Of course, not everyone is sold on this move. Some critics argue that Rodgers' presence, even as a backup, could create unnecessary drama or tension in the Dolphins' locker room. There's the risk of Tua feeling undermined or looking over his shoulder, knowing that a living legend is waiting in the wings. But from what we're hearing, both Rodgers and the Dolphins' leadership are committed to making this a seamless transition. Mike McDaniel is known for his communication skills and ability to manage personalities, so if anyone can pull this off without internal friction, it's him. And Rodgers, by all accounts, has matured in recent years, understanding the importance of team chemistry and mentorship. Looking ahead, if this rumor does indeed become reality, the 2025 NFL season will be must-watch television. Imagine the storylines. Rodgers mentoring Tua, the Dolphins making a Super Bowl push, and the entire AFC East locked in a four-way battle for supremacy. It's the kind of drama that sports fans live for. And let's not forget the potential fairy tale ending. Aaron Rodgers, after years of chasing that second ring, finally hoisting the Lombardi Trophy in a Dolphins uniform, proving that greatness isn't just about individual accolades, but about adapting, sacrificing, and doing whatever it takes to win. So there you have it, folks. The rumor that's sending shockwaves through the NFL, Aaron Rodgers potentially becoming a backup quarterback for the Miami Dolphins to chase one last Super Bowl ring. Whether this move actually happens remains to be seen, but the mere possibility has already ignited endless debate and excitement. As always, we'll be keeping a close eye on all developments. I'm bringing you the latest updates right here on the channel. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our breaking news or analysis. Until next time, stay tuned, stay hyped, and keep loving the game. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up!